Hi, and thank you for joining me for another video. And today, my friends, I want to speak to you about a very, very important topic. A topic that is at the core of social Jewish advancement. An area that unfortunately encompasses one of modern day Judaism's major primitive beliefs. And that's the notion that blood matters. So today, my friends, I'm going to attempt to put it all into perspective for you so that you can stop viewing the world tribally instead of ethically. So you've probably heard the notion that if the mother is Jewish, the child is Jewish. And if you ask your average rabbi how and why, you will most likely hear that the Yiddish neshama, the Jewish soul, travels or is transferred through the mother. And you also hear that angels even visit babies in a Jewish woman's womb. Or they'll just tell you that they don't know why. This is just the way God made it. And of course, if the father is Jewish and the mother is not Jewish, you are out of Israel. And if you don't have any Jewish parents, then you're treated the same way. And how is that? You're treated like crap. Now, the question is this the way it's always been? Well, what if I told you that this is not exactly what the halacha says is the reason of the status traveling through the mother? What if I told you that? Would you change your mind about all the mistreatment and bigotry Jews show non-Jews today? Well, anyways, the sugya on matrilineal descent is found in Masechet Kedushin. It says that Rabbi Shimon gives the source for matrilineal descent, which is in Parashat Vayet Hanan, in Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 3 and 4. It states, Velo titchaten bam, do not marry with them. Bitecha lo titen livnu, do not give your daughters to their sons. Uvito lo tikach livnecha, or take their daughters for your sons. Ki yasir et bincha me'acharai, for they will turn your children away from following me. Ve'avdu Elohim aherim, to serve other gods. V'chara af Adonai bechem v'chish mitcha mahed, and the Lord's anger will burn against you and will quickly destroy you. And my friends, this is what the pasuk says. So this is actually stating two possible notions. One, which is how we poskin, as stated by Rabbi Shimon, that the person taking our child away, or really our grandchild away from God, is the mother, giving us the understanding that Jewishness stems from the mother. Although the verse does slightly imply that even if the father wasn't Jewish and the mother was, there would still be a problem, which is how Tosfos holds that not having a Jewish father and only a Jewish mother makes you a mamzer. Or how the Rit al-Ghazi holds that if your father was a non-Jew and your mother was Jewish, you would still be a goy. But regardless, we poskin like Rabbi Shimon that the mother's the one who determines Jewishness. And that's fine. But my reason, my friends, for showing you this is to solidify 2 points. First, that according to the Peshat, the whole reason for the Torah mentioning these Pesukim is to remind us of the fear of our children being taken away from the Almighty. And as a result, warns us against intermarriage. And secondly, that the notion that Jewishness travels exclusively through the mother is a 100% derabanan, a binding halacha derabanan, but still exclusively rabbinic. Actually, amongst Chazal, there are 3 different opinions on what makes someone Jewish. The first one, which is having both Jewish parents. The second one, which is how we poskin, that Jewishness travels through the mother, so all you need is just a Jewish mother. Even though your father is not Jewish, you're still Jewish. And the third opinion is the Shita found in the Talmud Yerushalmi in Kedushin, that actually teaches that Jewishness travels exclusively through the father. Teaching us what? Teaching us that, at least midoraita, according to the pashat of the Torah itself, that what really, really matters is the keeping or the wanting to keep Torah. Like we just said, that the pashat of the pasuk is clear, that the fear is that the other person will take the child away from Torah. And regarding the reason for matrilineal descent, at least the logical reason, in my opinion at least, it's probably because children are predominantly raised closest to their mothers. And that if the mother is religiously Jewish, she could be able to keep the child on the right path, on the derech. Now, others quote that portion in Ezra about the Israelites putting away their wives, and that's fine. But the reason that this portion here in Deuteronomy is the makor, is the source for the halacha, is again, because it's in the Torah and Ezra isn't. And we always only use the Torah as our basis. And that's it. So now that I have explained the root of the belief and where it came from, and what was its main goal in mind, this video should at least get you to ask some important questions. Like, if your mother is an atheist but halachically Jewish, how could you still be Jewish, at least in God's opinion. Or if you're a Jew who lives in a foreign country and your Gentile wife keeps Torah, but there's no beit din to convert her, is your child supposedly a Gentile in God's eyes? I mean, my friends, these are real questions that, you know what, we have to ask, because although we adhere to the rulings of Chazal, we don't claim that rabbinic rulings change metaphysical reality or celestial truth in any way, but are rather given to us so that we can be able to function and progress in a uniform manner on earth. But not that the Almighty is also bound by these rulings. But regardless, the halacha is that for all practical purposes, Jewishness travels through the mother. I mean, we're not Karaites. So knowing this, do you still believe that there is any intrinsic worth to having a Jewish mother like the Kabbalists teach? And friends, the answer is no, at least according to the Pashat in the Torah. So then why all the mistreatment of those who don't have Jewish mothers? Why? Because we just learned that according to the Torah, what makes someone Jewish or in the covenant is whether they keep Torah or not. And it was only the rabbis, the sages of the Talmud, who ruled that it was only through the mother, which they had 100% authority to declare, as you already know, an authority that actually was given to them in the Torah itself to establish checks and balances to help us keep Torah more efficiently. And also, according to halacha itself, all those who fell outside of the circle of matrilineal descent who were interested in Torah were only required to undergo a conversion that, according to Jewish law, took 1 or 2 days minimum, or 30 if the male wasn't circumcised, as it states in Masechet Yevamot. So it's pretty simple when you demystify it. And friends, another point I would like to quickly mention is regarding the term Jewish. And that's that you must know that the term Jewish is a rabbinic legal term, not necessarily a biblical one. Now I know that the word Jew does appear in some of the writings, but the actual correct term for what is now known as a Jew is actually being in the covenant. In other words, something that by definition needs to be maintained. And you probably just figured out why most Jews, or especially secular Jews, have chosen not to identify with that descriptive term. Why? Because being in a covenant, in a covenantal agreement, entails that you have to actually do something to remain within it. So only because someone happens to have a Jewish father and a non-Jewish mother, or no Jewish relatives at all, does not mean that they are literally outsiders of Israel, or should remain so. But rather, that what I'm teaching you today is that even in this area, we are more interested in what someone may become and not the supposed intrinsic worth of an individual, which, as you know, is always 0. And why 0? Because, my friends, all of us are as intrinsically special as we are as intrinsically worthless. Why? Because actions in Torah have always been the defining characteristic. The only thing that adds value to who we are. So, only because someone does not have a halachically acceptable yichus does not mean that they should be ousted from under the wings of the Shekhinah. Because, remember, the halacha was established on the basis that the child would be taken away from Torah. So, how does it help us to keep them away? So think about that the next time you see a rabbi asking everyone in the street, are you Jewish, instead of, do you follow or do you want to follow Torah? My friends, for more information on everything Jewish, please visit doordea.com. Thank you.